Alright guys, no kind of music and pictures b-roll begin to this video. It's a bit more straightforward than that. So I'll give a bit of an explanation before this one starts, just briefly, because obviously I don't want it to go on forever. Basics of this is, we went out looking for a unknown or very little known road at St Helier, and with this video, kind of everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So I got there, and before we'd even started, the wind muff was missing for the microphone, and then when we found what we were originally looking for, they were already building, and the builder told us to go away, so we couldn't film that. And then the battery died in the camera I'm filming this on now, which is the usual camera now. And I switched to my GoPro, so toward the second half of the video the sound's not the best, so I apologise for that. And yeah, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong somewhere. But we tried to make the best of it. So it started out as meant to be a video about this little known road and its place in history with St Helier, and it's become more of a highlights of, I suppose, southern St Helier. So we've done, so it ended up being more of an explore, if you like, around St Helier. Oh, a section of St Helier. If you do like it, we can always do some more exploration, or more explores around the parts of St Helier that don't have shops that people don't normally see, unless they're living in town, obviously, because I'm thinking more of the people who don't live within the island. Obviously, if you like it and you live here, brilliant too. But yeah, so anyway, I've waffled on enough. Let's go to the video, and then we'll come back to me after. Right, so welcome back to Adventure 82. We're on a bit of a mission today. We're trying to find an elusive road, a road that most people probably haven't heard of, a place called Sligo Lane. Reason we're trying to find this is two reasons. One, I've been told there's a very interesting old Victorian warehouse at the bottom, so I thought that might be an interesting look. And two, from what I understand, it was the starting point of Jersey's cholera epidemic of the early 20th century. So it has some historical significance. So let's go see if we can find this elusive road, as it were. If you notice any wind noise, by the way, I should point out, entirely my fault. You'll notice my lapel mic there. Somebody, me, may have gone and lost the wind muff, and it turns out Sony don't sell them on their own. But that's a problem for another day. We'll sort that out in the after. First, let's go see if we can find Sligo Lane. And before I forget, today we have with us Erica and also Mary. So we have a four-legged explorer today, as well as the standard two-legged variety. Right, so down here, we'll go see if we can find Sligo Lane. Right, so like I say, we're on this elusive hunt for Sligo Lane. Any of you who know your way around St Helier will know at the moment I'm on a road called Journo Street. The only thing I know about Sligo Lane at the minute is it's somewhere off Aquila Road, which is the road directly ahead of us. So Sligo Lane, it's an interesting one. It's not really mentioned, doesn't seem to be photographed. The only real reference to it, and you can tell it has some historical reference, is the fact that there's actually some flats on Aquila Road, and they're called Sligo Apartments. So I'm guessing it's somewhere around there. Right, so we're on Aquila Road. Also, check out this. Those of you who watch my Ann Street Brewery video will be aware that this used to be a brewery here as well, warehouse. And you'll see that they've got, I'll show you at the end of this road here, actually they've got a big building demolition operation going on, removing the old Randall's Brewery. And hey, surprise, just like the hotel, selling it into flats. So there you go, look. They've still got the Randall sign on this section, but it's not actually, I don't know if it's still part of Randall's that bit or not. Looks like it's been modernised. This is the other section. This was the actual brewery section. That's all being now demolished, rebuilt. But right, back to finding Sligo Lane. Right, so we found Sligo Lane. It's just at the side of that shop there where the blue awning is. We can't go down there though, because the old warehouse has already been knocked down. The person who told me about this went and had a look at it a couple of weeks ago and it was in one piece. And alas, they've already started demolishing it and the builders politely told me to go away. So that's not happening. But what's also around here, which I'll take you to go and have a look at, is right, so if I show you, just down this road here, if you could see through the house, you'd know that on the other side is the hospital. And just a bit further down here, which I'll take you to have a look at, is the old, it's kind of like an estate, it's a block of flats that was built for the nurses and stuff to stay in when they built the 1980s section of the hospital, which is now all been emptied out, nobody lives there, etc. anymore. It was handed over to housing at one point, I believe, as well. So whilst we're down this neck of the woods, because parking in St Helier is a pain in the butt, we'll go and have a look at that whilst we're here, and we'll see how that one turns out. We might be able to find something interesting around there, but not one of my most interesting videos, I concede, but still, you know, we're documenting stuff as it's being changed. So let's see what we can find around where these flats are. So onwards and upwards, turn negative into a positive and all that, eh? Right, I just thought I'd show you this whilst we're on our way down. I'm still on Aquila Road. This used to be Aquila Methodist Church, but as you can probably see, if I zoom in on the writing there for you, it's no longer a, well, as the top says, Methodist Church. It's in fact a mosque, and it's the only mosque in Jersey as far as I'm aware. And they've done a pretty good job of painting it too. It's pretty pretty. It's gold and stuff, so that brass. That's pretty cool. Right, so this is Westerway Court. It's not being demolished as such. It's being gutted and redone on the inside, new doors and everything. This was originally built to house the nurses in the hospital, which now we're in the Parade Park. You can see just over here. And that, when that was built, that was the 1980 section of the hospital. And when that was built, they also came and they built this. And they built this to house the extra staff they'd need to run the 1980 section of the hospital. And you can see it's feeling its age, but I imagine once they've done up the inside, they'll probably give it a coat of paint and stuff and it'll look quite nice, but you can't really get in at the minute. That's another one where you're sealed out. These, I believe, are going to end up being owned by Andium Homes as I understand it, and they'll be social housing. But at the moment you can see it's all doorways are boarded up. There's only one entrance in and out, and there's a padlock on it. But this was all once upon a time the nurses' housing. So that's Westerway Court.
quite a few kind of old sections of the town around here. Come out looking for Sligo Lane. He's ended up being more of like a general explorer of the bottom end of St Helier. So what we've got here then, you got the 80s section of the hospital. The original section's on the other side in Gloucester Street, which is a registered building, so it means it can't be knocked down. It's listed, so it has to stay there. Very nice grand granite building. This was all added on. This is the 1980 section, as I say. We've got some interesting stones on the side where you go down Gloucester Street down the side here, which I'll take you and show you. But a lot of people turn around and go to me, what's this big chimney here at the side of the hospital? So I suppose now it's an appropriate time to point out that what that actually is that's an incinerator chimney. Or it started off as an incinerator chimney because they used to incinerate their own waste, medical waste. Now it's taken away and incinerated elsewhere in a secure location by the government. But that chimney also used to be, and I don't know if they still use it for it, but it was connected up also to the heating system because the heating system was oil. I don't know if it still is, but that was the other reason for that chimney. So I'll take you over this side. And before we end the video, what I'll quickly do is I'll show you the ornate stones on the side of the 1980s section on the end here. And then I'll show you the old granite building, the original part of the hospital. It's loads of little bits again. It's a bit like the St Peter's Curiosity video, which I learnt from Shane, which you may have seen if you've, or heard, should I say, if you've been in any of the bunker videos. I got told by Shane that they actually, in the middle of where the runways and stuff are now, there used to actually be a little village church, which is quite cool. He sent me a picture of that. I might put that in at the end for you, so you can have a look at that. And I will be going back to the airport at some point and doing a history of the airport video. But for now, I'll show you these last few bits of the hospital. Right, so this hospital was added on in stages. That's 1960, as you can see there. That's dated 1960. That's the Jersey crest, for those who don't know. But see, look at these ornate stones. There's one there. The man looks like he's in an operating theatre, maybe. And then there's another one over here. He's definitely in an operating theatre because they've got the little mask and stuff on his face. The nurse. There's your one there of the nurse in the operating theatre. I have just used the noise here because it's the ventilation for their air conditioning as well as being by a very noisy road. I'll do what I can in the editing for this. Right, there's your last stone, and ending video will probably be on my GoPro because this camera is almost dead. But that's the hospital there. I'll film what I can with what battery I've got left, but we'll see how we get on. Right, it's the first time using my GoPro, so this should be interesting. But that's your first entrance there. That was the original entrance to the hospital. So the middle would have been for the ambulances, and either side you would have had a little man in an office. Also would have been pedestrian entrance. And you can see through the original entrance there for the ambulance, the original building. Unfortunately, they put some sort of horrendous thing in front of it, but I'll get across this road and we'll have a look at that. Right, so we're back with the GoPro, and might have a bit more success now because we've not got the road noise or the wind noise. But there's some nice interesting bits here if you look closely. Look at that. The workmanship on that, you can tell how old it is. Look, it's got a chimney on top where they used to put their little fires on for the men that were in the building there. You used to have a little side building here, look at that. And then you've got the old bell here. This bell actually used to be rung when the ambulances were leaving. When the hospital was first built, so you have someone stood there ringing the bell to let people know there's an ambulance coming out. So you've got the whole hospital's done in sections. You've got this more modern section here, which is glass. That's the most recent one, that's done about 2012. But you've got the original one, look at it. Ignore the monstrosity in the front, obviously, of the original entrance. But look, it's even got the grand clock at the top there. And of course it goes on behind there, that's hidden away. I'll see if I can get a look at that for you. But you can see there the writing. See if we can get a bit closer, hang on. So, the 80s bit is on the other side. I've got the 60s and the 80s mixed up, so it's clever me, innit? There you go, look at that, see? General Hospital. And the we've built on the Jersey crest, all in granite there. But that was the main entrance for many years. It was a grand entrance too, it was all carpeted. And it had some wooden plaques on the wall above the entrance where you could see the beneficiaries to the hospital who helped fund the money for it to be built. That's such a cool clock. I'll see if I can get a photograph of that. You can see here, I've not been too kind to the old building. They've kind of hidden it away now behind metalwork and God knows what else. There's been an ongoing debate, if you live over here, for about 3 decades as to what to do with the hospital, because they say it's not big enough. And there's people who say to keep it here, people who say to move it. It'd just be a shame if this building goes out the public domain and becomes another relic that only the states can access, or at least that's my viewpoint on it. We'll come down here. And you can see here as well where they've built up steps here to go in. That was another entrance when I was a kid, but that's now just a staff entrance. You can see it's a staff only. But absolutely stunning piece of architecture. Look at it. And they've covered it with this monstrosity of a thing here, which is, I don't even know what the blooming heck it's for. It says plant room. Well, I know what a plant room is, but yeah, see, it's got, so this is a corridor here, and down there was public access. It was just windows, but you can see there's more ornate stones being hidden here. Look at that, we wouldn't have found that if we not come and look down here. There's another one there, look, between the 2 windows. What if that means there's one hidden the other side? Right, let's go have a look, see if there's one hidden the other side. And because I'm quite curious now, if there's a hidden ornate stone there, maybe there's one hidden the other side. This is now the main ambulance entrance. So I need to be careful I'm not in the way here. But it's for accident emergency. Can you tell we're next to the road again? See, these are all the banisters for here, just been dumped. Yeah, see, look, there's another lady. If I poke this through the bars for you, there's another one there, you can just see it through the bars. It's a shame. The 60s and the 80s section, the 60s and the original section of the hospital, a lovely piece of architecture. That's a good shot of the original entrance. It's a shame if they get lost and demolished. I would hope they would at least save the stones. The stones, the ornate stones, they're lovely. But right, so I'm gonna have to try and get Erica to use the GoPro, which should be interesting, and we'll do an end video. I will go back over to the park where we're not so close to the road and it's a bit quieter. Hopefully.
Right, so hopefully now you've seen that, you can see what I mean. It was a bit of a all sorts video, hence the name, because I wasn't sure really what to call it. It wasn't about anything specific, although it was intended to be that way. Yeah, so if that was interesting to you, and you'd like me to do something similar, that's cool. Next week we're going to be back to our normal kind of video, like I said just before. So we'll be back to the hotels, lost hotels. I don't know how many more I'm going to do with those, because well, there's plenty of lost hotels in the island. I'm actually running thin on hotels there's information on, but we'll see how we get on. So yeah, from me and Erica, who's now defrosted because of course we've been home a few days. I will see you next week in the next one, and yeah, have an awesome week.